Now I am going to start text number 6, nectar of instruction. दृष्टे स्वभाव जनी दृष्टे स्वभाव जनी तैर वापुसश्च दोषैर न प्रकृतत्वम् इह भक्तः जनस्य पश्येत् गंगा भसम न कालु बधबुदा फेने पंकैर ब्रह्मा द्रव 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 द्रवत्वम अपगच्छति नीरा धर्मय. Translation. Being situated in his original Krishna consciousness position, a pure devotee does not identify with the body. Such a devotee should not be seen from a materialistic point of view. Indeed, one should overlook a devotee having a body, born in a low family, a body with a bad complexion, a deformed body, or a disease or infirm body. According to ordinary vision, such imperfections may seem prominent in the body of the pure devotee, but despite such seeming defects, the, the body of a pure devotee cannot be polluted. It is exactly like the water of the Ganges, which sometimes during the rainy season are full of bubbles, foam, and mud. The Ganges waters do not become polluted. Those who are advanced in a spiritual understanding will bathe in the Ganges without considering the condition of the water. Purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Shuddha Bhakti, the activity of soul proper, in other words, engagement in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, is performed in a liberated condition. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated, one who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any circumstances at once, transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Avyabhicharani bhakti means unalloyed devotion. A person engaged in devotional service must be free from material motives. In this Krishna consciousness movement, one's consciousness must be changed. If consciousness is aimed towards material enjoyment, it is material consciousness, and if it aimed towards serving Krishna, it is in Krishna consciousness. A surrendered soul serve Krishna without material consideration. अन्यभिलाषिता शून्यम ज्ञान कर्मदि anavratam. Unalloyed devotional service which is transcendental to the activities of the body and mind. Such a jnana, mental speculation, and karma, fruitive work, is called pure bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga is the proper activity of the soul, and when one actually engages in unalloyed, uncontaminated devotional service, he is already liberated. Sagunan Samatitayaten. Krishna's devotee is not subjected to material condition, even though his bodily features may appear materially conditioned. One should therefore not see a pure devotee from a materialistic point of view unless one is actually a devotee. He cannot see another devotee perfectly as explained in the previous verse. There are three types of devotee: Kanishtadhikari, Madhyamadhikari, and Uttamadhikari. The Kanishtadhikari cannot distinguish between a devotee and near non-devotee. He is simply concerned with worshipping the deity in the temple. A Madhyamadhikari, however, can distinguish between the devotee and non-devotee, as well as between the devotee and the Lord. Thus, he treats the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the devotee and the non-devotee in different ways. No one should criticize the bodily defects of pure devotional devotee. If there are such defects, they should be overlooked. What should be taken into account in the spiritual master's main business, which is devotional service, pure service to the Supreme Lord, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 9.3. अपीचेत सुदुच्चारो भात भजते माम अनन्य भक्त सदूर एव समन्तव्य समयज्ञ व्यवासितो ही स. Even if a devotee sometimes seems to engage in abominable activities, he should be considered a sadhu, a saintly person, because his actual identity is that of one engaged in the loving service of the Lord. In other words, he is not to be considered an ordinary human being. Even though a pure devotee may not be born in a Brahmana or Goswami family, if he is engaged in the service of the Lord, he should not be neglected. In actuality, there cannot be a family of Goswamis based on material consideration, caste, or heredity. The Goswami title is actually the monopoly of pure devotee. Thus, we speak of the six Goswamis, headed by Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami. Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami had practically become Mohammedans and had therefore changed their names to Dabir Kasa and Sakar Malik. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself made them Goswamis. Therefore, the Goswami title is not hereditary. The word Goswami refers to one who can control his senses, who is master of the senses. A devotee is not controlled by the senses, but in the controller of the senses. Consequently, he should be called Swami or Goswami, even though he may not be born in a Goswami family. According to this formula, the Goswamis who are descendants of Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Advaita Prabhu are certainly devotees, but devotees coming from other families should not be discriminated against. Indeed, whether the devotees come from a family of previous acharyas or from an ordinary family, they should be treated equally. One should not think, oh, here is an American Goswami, and discriminate against him. Nor should one think, here is a Nityanand Vamsa Goswami. There is an undercurrent of protest against our awarding the title Goswami to the American Vaishnavas of the Krishna consciousness movement. Sometimes people flatly tell the American devotees that their sannyasa or title of Goswami is not bona fide. However, according to the statement of Srila Rupa Goswami, in this verse, an American Goswami and Goswami in a family of acharyas are non-different. On the other hand, a devotee who has attained the title of Goswami but is not born of a Brahmana father or of a Goswami in the family of Nityanand or Advaita Prabhu should not be artificially puffed up by thinking that he has become a Goswami. He should always remember that as soon as he becomes materially puffed up, he immediately falls down. This Krishna consciousness movement is a transcendental science, and there is no room for jealous. This movement is meant for the Pramhansa, who are completely free from all jealousy. One should not be jealous whether he is born in a family of Goswamis or has the title of Goswami awarded to him. As soon as anyone becomes envious, he falls from the platform of Paramhansa. If we consider the bodily defects of Vaisnava, we should understand that we are committing an offense at the lotus feet of the Vaisnava. An offense at the lotus feet of a Vaisnava is very serious. Indeed, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has described this offense as Hatimata, the mad elephant offense. A mad elephant can create a disaster, especially when it enters into a nicely trimmed garden. One should therefore be very careful not to commit any offense against a Vaisnava. Every devotee should be ready to take instruction from a superior Vaisnava, and a superior Vaisnava must be ready to help an inferior Vaisnava in all respect. One is superior or inferior according to his spiritual development. In Krishna consciousness, one is forbidden to observe the activities of a pure Vaisnava from a material point of view. For the neophyte, especially, considering a pure devotee from a material is very injurious. One should therefore avoid observing a pure devotee externally, but should try to see the internal features and understand how he is engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. In this way, one can avoid seeing the pure devotee from a material point of view, and thus one can gradually become a purified devotee himself. Those who think that Krishna consciousness is limited to a certain section of people, a certain section of devotee, or a certain tract of land are generally prone to see the external features of the devotee. Such neophytes, unable to appreciate the exalted service of the advanced devotee, try to bring the Mahabhagavata to their platform. We experience such difficulty in propagating this Krishna consciousness all over the world. Unfortunately, we are surrounded by neophyte God brothers who do not appreciate the extraordinary activities of spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world. They simply try to bring us to their platform, and they try to criticize us in every respect. We very much regret their naive activities and poor fund of knowledge. An empowered person who is actually engaged in the confidential service of the Lord should not be treated as an ordinary human being, for it is stated that unless one is empowered by Krishna, one cannot spread the Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. यहाँ पे हमारा टेक्स्ट नंबर 6 कंप्लीट होता है। हरे कृष्णा।